Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug, a fanfiction and audiofiction. This is the series The Truth Behind the Lie, written by Shika, narrated by Dawn myself. Hello! And this is for Shika's Wednesday, so I hope you're enjoying it so far. Massive shout out to Shika. Make sure you go and send her some love. All her information is down below. Make sure you send me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of this part and what will happen in the next one. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on future parts and other series and other one-shots that are coming your way. And I hope you enjoy. Part 16. The photo shoot was not a very long one. It was just 3 changes for each of them, and Adrien was determined to get out of there as quickly as possible. He tried to be as professional as he could be with Lila's usual attempts to press herself against him, lean against his shoulder, or convince the crew that they were dating. Most of the crew had been present last Saturday and clearly didn't believe a word and ignored her. Whenever the cameras were pointed at them, he pretended he was back at the other photo shoot with Marinette. It allowed him to relax enough to follow the photographer's directions, despite the liar clinging to him like a leech. It quickly became clear to Lila that he was not going to play along with her games, and she tried to make the shoot drag out even longer. She accidentally tripped and knocked over part of the lighting rig that she got into the scene a bit too much and smeared her lipstick on his neck, making him flinch. She fussed and fidgeted about every little detail of her outfit that the director finally warned her if she continued being obstructive, he would have to notify Mr. Aggress that she was disrupting the shoot. She gave in with appearance of good grace, but the look she shot at Adrien as he finally escaped to the waiting car was one of pure venom. Adrien was thankful that there was nothing else on his schedule for the day, and Maurice knew he wanted to get back to school to check on Marinette. But when he saw the small, huddled figure on the school steps, his heart throbbed painfully. What could have happened? I was only gone a few hours and Lila was with me the whole time, he groaned, leaping from the car and dashing up the steps. My sweet, what's wrong? Her head jerked up, locking eyes with his before leaping to her feet, throwing her arms around him. I missed you so much, she said desperately. He held her protectively. What happened, Marinette? Alya, she sniffled. She thinks this is all just a game, and for me to rub it in Lila's face. She says I need to back off you and make peace with Lila before everyone starts to take sides. She says she needs proof. He stiffened with anger at the so-called friend who would dare to do this to Marinette. Who was Alya to demand proof of Marinette? She thought his feelings for her were just a game. Just then, the perfect solution came to him. The perfect way to prove to everyone, including Marinette, how he really felt. He pulled away from her slightly, still gripping her shoulders tightly. Her hands fell from his neck to his chest, leaving a tingling blush at their passing. Alya needs proof before she believes us? She nodded. Do you trust me, Marinette? You know I do, Adrien, but... So, trust me now, okay? His heart was pounding so hard he was sure she could feel it under her hands. Please, Marinette, trust me. Please. She looked at him in worry, her sky blue eyes brewing storms. Okay, she murmured. He closed his eyes and pulled her into a kiss. Considering this was his first kiss that he could remember, it probably wasn't the best, but it couldn't be just a sweet little peck, and he wasn't going to let this inexperience mess this up. Not when he was finally kissing his Marinette. He knew they had to convince everyone that this was real, but all thoughts of lies dissolved like a mist as Marinette's eyes fluttered closed against his cheeks. She seemed to melt against him. His hands ran down her arms to her waist, pulling her closer, while her hands crept back around his neck, tangling in his hair. The added points of contact sparked like lightning along his nerves. His chest warmed and ached as if his heart wanted to pound its way out to get to her, and the way her soft lips felt against his made pleasant knots form in his stomach. Heat, raw and volcanic, spread through him like a blush, and it lit a fire in his brain. He was kissing Marinette, and oh, how he had wanted this. The fake dating, that had just been an excuse. He couldn't deny it anymore, not after the photo shoot, not after what happened in the locker room, not after he had wanted to kiss her so badly, had felt drawn to her the way he had, the way his heart had beaten savagely as he held her in his arms. It may have started as a lie, but it wasn't a lie anymore. Adrien was finally kissing Marinette, and he felt whole, as if she was the missing piece of his heart, as if he had spent his life breathing with only one lung, and now he felt giddy and lightheaded as pure Marinette oxygen he was taking in. Oh, how he wanted to stay wrapped in this kiss forever. How he wanted to drown in her softness and sweetness and tell her how much he cared for her. For he now knew, with the clarity of his life flashing before his eyes, that he loved her. How long had he been in love with Marinette? It couldn't have been new. The way he felt hadn't shocked him. Instead, it felt right. Could he have been in love with her this whole time and not realized it because of Ladybug? It didn't matter. It felt like he wanted this forever. The way she kissed him back, she had made him burn and tremble and fall and fly all at once. Marinette, who loved him for himself. Marinette, who had fought him as fiercely as she doubted herself. Marinette, who cared for him on both sides of the mask. Marinette, who was in love with her buttercup. The truth slammed into him like a physical blow, sending his heart plummeting in his chest. He gasped and pulled away slowly, his face burning, arms, lips, and heart aching to draw her in once more. She stared up at him in confusion, a trembling smile on her rosy lips, but the shadows were back and darkening her eyes like a summer storm. Adrien swallowed hard, wanting desperately to cradle her against his chest and afraid she would reject him. One thing was now crystal clear. He wanted the lie to be true. Marinette was drowning in the scent of oranges and allspice, the taste of mint lip balm, and the soft strands of Adrien's hair against her fingers. If this was a dream, she never wanted to wake up. A heart raced as the world dissolved into white noise around her. Adrien was kissing her. He was choosing to kiss her. His hands pulled her more firmly against him even now, with his pulse pounding a rapid tempo on her wrists as they rested against his neck. He was like a summer sunbeam, warm and bright and burning wherever he touched. He gasped against her lips and pulled away slowly, with a face as red as ever she managed. She stared up at him in confusion and smiled nervously. She knew she couldn't speak, otherwise she would have begged for another kiss. But the silence was mutual as they stared at each other, stunned stupid. The fear rose in her then, a dark cloud of tormenting butterflies in her stomach. How could he have kissed her like that if it was just an act? Had she done it badly? Was she really not what he had expected after all? After all his sweet words and assurances? She could feel her lips trembling and the tears that wanted to well up in her eyes but were quickly banished. Adrien swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing nervously. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw his hand reach out as if to pull her back before moving to rub the back of his neck. If she could only find the words, the ability to reach out for him, she would kiss him with everything she had, let him know exactly how much she loved him, how much she cared about him, how much he deserved it. But she was frozen, wide eyes and lips tingling, unable to speak. Marinette? He whispered her name as if saying it too loudly would cause the world to shatter. Maybe it would. Maybe she would fall apart like a broken mirror, there on the steps of the school surrounded by other students. Students with phones out. The tabloid photographers that had been following them for the last 2 weeks. Right. The plan. She smiled up at him as softly as she could and curled her hands through his. You've had a long day, my prince. I know the photoshoot can be exhausting. You should go home and rest. I'll walk you to your car. His hands tightened on hers and he pressed a kiss to her hair. I'm sorry, Marinette, he murmured. She couldn't look at him. It would send the shard of her broken heart shattering to the ground, and she wouldn't be able to cope anymore. She had to hold it together. She wasn't just Marinette, she was Ladybug, and Ladybug couldn't afford to give up or give in to the screaming chasm of emptiness that yawned inside of her, ready to swallow Marinette whole. Ladybug could not be allowed to be akumatized. For the safety of Paris, for the safety of her partner, for everyone, for Adrien. It's okay, she lied. We're good. Everything will be all right. She opened the car door for him. Do you want us to take you home? He asked tentatively, the sunshine gone from his face. Yet another heartache left at their doorstep. No, I think I'd like to walk. Get some rest, my prince. I'll send you my notes from class, okay? He nodded as he fastened his seatbelt. Yeah. Feel better, Marinette? Why did he phrase it like a question? I need you to be okay. Drawing a deep, shuddering breath, she bent down and kissed him on the cheek. She threw a smile that jerked her heart like a fish on a hook, but said the words anyway. How can I not be okay when I've just been kissed by my everyday cat noir? His eyes locked onto hers, pleading, hoping, needing something from her that she couldn't understand. She patted him on the shoulder and glanced at Maurice's reflection in the rearview mirror. The bodyguard looked at her with a sad expression. She quirked an eyebrow and tipped her head towards Adrien, silently asking the man to look out for him, for her. He nodded once, their mutual concern for him enough to unite them. She gave Adrien a small smile, hoping it was more genuine this time. Call me later? His grin was crooked and probably as small as her own, but it was real. I look forward to it, my sweet. Closing the door, she watched as the black car drove away. Marinette sighed, letting the smile fall. She would need some help if she was going to get through this. Someone a bit more human than a Kwame with no experience with love. She pulled her phone out of her pocket, thumbed through her contacts and called. Hey, Kagami, it's Marinette. Are you free? No, it's not about Lila, but I'm not okay. I could really use a friend right now. thank you for listening to part 16 of The Truth Behind the Lie. It's a bit of a short one to your usual length ones, but I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash that like button. Comment down below what you thought of it. The kiss, but oh, the angst. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on the next part and other one-shots and other series that are happening at the moment. And I hope you are good, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.